All right, shalom, shalom. Hey, before I get started, I want to give all the glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakurash. Double honors unto my apostles and others, a great millstone. Peace and safety to all the Sasakiam that's out here pushing his word in truth and in all sincerity. Shalom. And shalom to you sincere sisters as well that are out there. So, on the way to the job, wasn't going to do a lesson, but a spirit hit me. So I figured I would just utilize this time, and it got me to thinking about, not being a novice, man, and what that means and what we're witnessing in Israel. I was just meditating on, the state of Israel, and these all of it, watching how Priest Zabak is responding, Hassad and Akkad, freaking frat of Israel, just all this madness, so much more, and I mean, there's always madness in the midst, because that's just you have, the truth of the matter is only but a small remnant is going to be right anyway. The majority is going to be wrong, it's not the other way around. So, the scriptures say, least, not a novice being lifted up with pride. And that's the problem that we're, what's really happening. I'm driving, of course. So, of course, I can't really pull scriptures the way I would like to. But give me 1 second. You had, I believe, recently, I think it might have been Joe Buttons. I think it was Joe Buttons and Jim Jones were on a podcast, and they were speaking about, gatekeeping and missing it, right? And, saying that from their perspective, speaking on the positivities of gatekeeping. And these are two people that have probably experienced gatekeeping, on a negative side as well. And I'm saying all that to say that even within this minute, within the truth, there's clearly no true gatekeepers anymore. It's just open. It's open for whoever. That's where it is at this point. The 2020s have shown us in Israel, and I'm speaking about not that's the state of Israel over there in the Middle East. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Israelite men that you see on the internet and all of that. That is what I'm speaking to. And over the years, I'm giving a point of history on this. Before it really blew up to what it is on the internet, you had to come through certain tunnel. You had to come through certain pipes, certain ways, See, a lot of people don't know the history even in regarding the truth, in regarding, how did it get to this point that you see it all over the place, everywhere, all these podcasts, these interviews, et cetera, et cetera. Before it was ever that, it started out in Harlem, New York. It started in New York. Okay? That's where it started. And from there, for a period of time, that was genuinely known as, that was where if you knew about the Hebrew Israelites in the 70s, in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s for sure, early 2000s, you more than likely were from the Northeast. You had some type of roots or some type of business or something that had you come past New York, mainly the city. Manhattan, Brooklyn, this is when they were teaching throughout New York City, right? And then it spread out. But see, from that point on, even then you had to have ties. If you were an Israelite in the 80s, in the 90s, even the 2000s, I'll go as far to say, you had ties to One West. That's why they call us One Westers, because majority of us here, or I won't say majority of us at this point, but a big chunk of us here that teach, we come from one of the branches that spread from One West. That's the history of it. But see, now we're in an era of time where you got a lot of Israelites that really in their own push don't have nothing to do with One West. And what do I mean One West? I'm talking about the individuals that spawned or that came from One West, that started there, whether that's GMS, whether that's IUIC, ISUPK, that's HOI, HODC, that's even to a certain extent, you could say that's Sakari. That's a specific brand of Israelites that came from that yoke. All right. That's why we speak on High Priest Ariah. That's why we speak on these elements, because why? That's a lot of our history, a lot of our starts. Our elders came out of that. But that's not the case anymore. See, we're in this weirdo, this knowledge is in a very weird place in the world. Okay? That's why I know it sounds like I'm rambling, but a lot of people don't understand these concepts. A lot of you were born when you did your first level of research, when it was time for you to do some research, you went to the internet. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not speaking against that, but there's a big difference in somebody that if you had to do any research, you went to the library or you went to books. How about that? We don't live in a time now where people are in books, right? They're going to the library. They're going to they gotta put the groundwork in to get that information, to get that knowledge. Okay? That's not what is happening anymore. All right? Times are very much so. These people are bugged out. People watch a few TikTok videos. People watch a few YouTube videos, right? And then they become instant scholars in the name of whatever they research. Now they're an expert on the subject matter. Because you watched a few TikTok reels, right? And read a post or two from Reddit. Now you're an expert. Never been tried, never had to your beliefs have never been put to the test. Your beliefs have never been tried. You've never experienced these things, but you just come from such a strong element because that's the times that we're in. That's the vanity of this world. And that thought process, that ideology has made its way into this new chapter of Yasha'Allah, aka Israel. All right. That's just the way I see it, and I see that from a perspective of just taking a step back and really analyzing the scene, analyzing what's going on. What are we dealing with here? You know, we're dealing with a different level of entry. See, when brothers like myself, when we learned about this truth, you know, I mean myself, you know, I'm like on the late end of it in the senses of I joined the camp in 2013, but I started studying and watching, you know, Israel, about being an Israelite in 2009, 2010 was when, so I'm in that space, 2009 and 2013, which is a lot of brothers that go back to that, you know, a lot of your up and coming, a lot of your elders, your young elders, They're the ones that were the first ones to wake up to this truth on the internet. But when we all in that space, that 5 to 6 year space right there, we're seeing what was going on. It was very scholarly. It was studious, because that's the generation previous to us. The generation previous to us, they were the ones that had to go actually to the bookstore and purchase a book and read that book. They had to actually go to the library and check out that book and read that book, right? It was reading. It was a lot of research. It was a lot of books, a lot of magazines, it was very scholarly. Now it's not. A lot of the reason a lot of people can't get down with Great Millstone is because this is too studious. If you are a person that listens to Great Millstone, chances are, I'm not even fucking chances, you're a studious person. This shit crazy. Give me a second. Good old-fashioned Atlanta madness. Let me clear all this. All right. Right. So back to 1 Timothy 3:6. At least, not a novice being lifted up with pride. And that's again, even somewhat of a continuation of the lesson I did yesterday, is that a lot of people aren't truly going through the trials and tribulations, and the Lord is not truly molding them. And you got a lot of people that are, a lot of men, a lot of these Hakkad and Assads, they're just absorbing information. They're just absorbing shit tons of information, and they don't have a filter. See, you can absorb a lot of information, but where's your filter? Where's your filter? And if your filter is not truly in the spirit of Yahweh Shemi Awashai, you going some junk, some gunk is gonna get through. That's why this is not for a novice. And I'm not talking from a perspective of I'm some grand master. I'm not coming from that. I acknowledge my novice. I wouldn't say like I'm a novice in that regard, but understanding that I'm a babe. I still view myself as a babe. I can't move as a babe. I have responsibilities and requirements, that I have to be accountable for. But nevertheless, I don't get outside myself, man. A lot of men get outside themselves. That's the point of all of this. At least not a novice. A lot of men just get out of pocket because they think that they're the grand poobah. They think that they're the top dog, and that's where you get these spinoffs. That's where all of this spinoff shit comes from. Where these guys, they must go and start their own thing. Because from the beginning of it all, they got a problem with being humble. They got a problem with checking in or shutting up or submitting. How about that? Scriptures speak about submitting to those that have rule over you. And a lot of men have an issue with that because why? They're puffed up with pride. They're full of themselves. So you can't tell them nothing. See, receiving rebuke is a very mature thing. Staying in your place is a very mature-minded thing. That's the point. These are novices. The word novice literally means new. That's what it means. All right. At the end of the day, when you break down 1,000 years as a day to the Lord and a day to the Lord is 1,000 years, roughly an hour with the Lord is about 42 years. That's an hour. Ain't none of us been spent, like, you gotta stay humble, man. That's the point, really. You don't reach an age where you don't gotta be humble no more. No. But if you know, like, come on, all of us that are like, you got to look at your age like an age of a person, right? If you're 10 years old, you might give a 10-year-old a certain level of responsibility, but you're not going to give him the keys to the car. Think about the responsibility of a 10-year-old. Think about the responsibility and so on and so forth of a 15-year-old. Think about that to a 20-year-old. Think about that to a 25-year-old, to a 30-year-old. 144. All praise Yahweh Shemi Yahushai. Think about it like that. Think about your time in the spirit on that level. The apostles they're gray men in the spirit. They've been doing this almost 40 years. That's maturity. And I know that if they spoke about themselves, they would speak, of course, from the same element that got them there, is staying humble and knowing that, man, you could be here today and gone tomorrow. So there is no space for pride. But these niggas, these childish niggas, these little boys swinging a big sword, they're polluting people and pushing out wicked vibrations because they're fucking immature and they're childish. Think about that. I didn't get the attention I wanted when I taught that. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do whatever it takes to get the attention that I didn't get. I'm going to be a bad kid. I'm going to be a bad kid. No, that's wrong. No. I'm changing that. Hear the tone, they're fucking kids. We're all novices in comparison. If you found out about the truth on the internet, you're a novice in comparison to the men that did not find out about the truth on the internet. That's just the truth. Those are our elders. You got men that go back to before listen, I came on the back. A lot of men, I get why the apostles and elders come down sometimes with that fire. Because you got to remind niggas. You got to remind Jake. And it's terrible. It's a terrible fucking cycle that got to continuously play out. Because niggas be getting outside of themselves. Niggas be getting too big for their fucking britches, man. And I'm not even talking about me, because this is not a challenge to me. These niggas is challenging the apostles and elders and what Yahweh Shemi Yahushai has set up. Because they think that they don't realize, they don't want to accept that they're novices. They overnight elders. They microwave elders. These niggas took the elevator, trying to act like they took the stairs. And you see it. Last Passover, I'm not eating the horseradish because I just don't like it. I don't like it. Please don't make me eat my vegetables, because I don't like it. And you niggas is being led by that. Scriptures say, make not thyself an underling to a fool, man. These niggas is fools. The serpent was a Canaanite. What the fuck are you talking about? Ham wasn't even around, let alone his child, his lineage. What the fuck are we talking about? See, and you niggas wonder why the Lord, the elders and apostles, the Lord, that we're asking the Lord we're really asking the Lord to put belt to your ass because you're a badass fucking child and you need a spanking. You need a whooping. But y'all are just a bunch of fucking Dennis the Menace. You're a bunch of fucking, you know, Cartmans, these badass little kids on these shows. That's what a lot of you niggas are, man. You're just black versions. You're Bart Simpsons. You just these badass little nigga kids, right? Y'all are baby kids with a garment on, portraying priests and prophets, and you're just stirring up bullshit. And then when you get called out on it, you get even more emotional. You're picking, now we're picking on you. You can't make this shit up. How do you niggas are being, you letting these popcorn ass prophets pop up and lead you, and a lot of these niggas don't even know the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. A lot of these niggas don't even know the alphabet. A lot of these niggas don't know shit. But because you got a rebellious demon on you, you following after another rebellious demon, and we just got to continue this fuckery. Ain't that something? When you really think about it, ain't that something? This is what we gotta deal with, because these niggas is just some badass kids, man. They just some badass kids. That's what we're dealing with here. These are children. These are little boys. I don't like, they're on the mental capacity. They're on the mental level of a high school. These are high schoolers. GMS mad at me cause I'm riding in a Benz. What the fuck is this? Is what we're literally dealing with fucking children. These junior ass niggas. My wife and kids, remember, if you grew up, you watch My Wife and Kids. These niggas is junior with Hebrew names. Bunch of badass little nigga boys. That's all they are. Just some badass little boys. About to close up here in a second. That's all it is. Some badass little boys. Big G's not. Yeah, all of this is little boy shit. That's why they want to be rappers. All of these are signs to their immaturity and childishness, and how much of a little boy that they are. I don't respect you niggas. You're little boys. The scriptures speak about the Lord said, my voice is unto you men. We're all growing into being men of the Lord here. But these is little fucking boys. These is children, man. I don't respect these niggas, man, because this is all a bunch of unrespectable bullshit. There's nothing respectable here. All right. So, hey, I just got to the location. Let me go off, get off of this. Let me see. Let me just. Yep, Luke 14:11. For whosoever exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. Yeah. That's what the Lord is going to do. The Lord is going to bring all of these immature ass is niggas to an abased state because they're trying to flex their muscles. They're trying to poke out their chest. That's what it's all about to them. They want to be exalted because what the fuck do little children want to be? Think about when you was a little boy, man. That's why I say it wouldn't hurt through the spirit if you really take some time, just research boy psychology. And then come back to this, and when you see these niggas are still stuck in boy psychology, the Lord never matured them. The Lord never took them from the next space, from boyhood to manhood. That never happened with them. So they're just little boys with garments, with man garments and swords, picking fights and being stupid. All right. It says a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Yes, a lot of Jake is going to be punished behind just being simple. Just looking at this shit and not realizing what the hell does any of this have to do with salvation? Are they teaching me? Are they feeding me? Are they pushing me? And in most cases, the answer is no. You niggas you men are just, you men out here and you women, you're just following these assholes because it's cool, it's hot, it's hippity hoppity. We got slang and we got slogans. You see how Israel done turned this thing into a fucking, it's just a bunch of record labels. Yeah, we got our name. Our name is we IWA. Yeah, nigga, hell yeah. We Israel with attitude. Hell yeah. We IWA. IWA. Israel with attitude. Yeah, I like that shit. Hell yeah. Tight. You niggas treat it like it's a fucking, like these are record labels. Israel, all of this, like I say, is LLC names. Right? So again, it is what it is. Don't get caught up in the bullshit with these other camps. They're very immature and underdeveloped as well as these people in the world. So with that, I'm going to say shalom. Hey, the water to all the precepts. The water. Shalom.